Very special indeed. Feeling a little guilty that I didn't pick up more Afrikaans from Seven Line while I had my opportunity, a lifetime's worth of opportunity. But yes, we've been casting an eye backwards, casting an eye forward to some amazing technology and what the world holds. But how are we living Madiba's legacy today? Of course, it is International Nelson Mandela Day, and it is in the theme this year. It is in your hands. What role can you as an individual play to carry us all collectively forward together in the service of one another? Because that's pretty much the only way we're going to move forward. And joining us to help us tap into this spirit today is a man who lives this notion every single day of his life and is helping to propagate this today more than any other day, because hopefully he's going to have thousands of young South Africans flocking to him. I'm, of course, speaking about Robben Island Museum's Heritage Education Department's Luvuyo Nzuzo. Luvuyo, welcome to it.
Thank you, Graham.
It's so good to see you. You look spectacular. The shirt is on point.
Thank you so much.
First box ticked. Your smile is infectious and your energy is amazing. I can understand why you've fallen into the role that you have. For me, this is a rare opportunity to connect to someone who was connected to Tata Madiba. As someone who has been in that same bubble and has chosen to live your life clearly by those principles and to carry that forward, have you been able to, in a few words, encapsulate what Tata Madiba was to you? I know he was a different entity to a lot of different people, but to you, what was Madiba?
Well, Madiba, he was a great man, I would say, and a very humble human being, a self-sacrificing person who never wanted everything for himself. In fact, he would have wanted things to be done for the rest of the others. So essentially for me, he lived for humanity.
I think so often we think of this as the South African story, and that our pain is our pain alone, and that our past and our mistakes are ours alone. But the world, I think, is going through this gateway right now. Everyone has got a mirror and is looking for something deeper. And we've got this wonderful totem in Mandela Day. We've got this opportunity to really drive the message home this year. It is in your hands. That gives me goosebumps just saying that, because that's where we're at now. What does that mean for your organization? What do you want people to take home?
Well, for Robben Island Museum, we always talk about the triumph of the human spirit, suggesting that whoever is going through whatever difficult moment, even if it looks beyond them.
Beyond hope.
Beyond hope. But because it's a just cause, it'll always survive. And that the human spirit is not so easily to be dominated. It cannot be crushed completely. You can always rise from the ashes of whatever. I mean, when you look at the life of Nelson Mandela, you will notice that he lived through apartheid, which was very difficult for many people, including himself.
It was impossible.
And he even went to Robben Island to spend those years on Robben Island. But look at what he managed to do out of the whole situation. You know, he rose from the rubbles of apartheid and oppression and actually preached reconciliation and common human values.
And the whole world connected to that notion back then. The entire globe connected to that. Do you think we can be that again for the world? What is South Africa's role?
I think South Africa has a significant role to play in world politics, because if you look at the life of Nelson Mandela, he's one man who was able to save us from a catastrophic civil war, for instance. Because the state was ready to destroy, the state was ready to fight with its own neighbors, including its citizens. But look at what Mandela did from prison. He started a negotiation process that actually subverted the entire thing. Otherwise, would be walking on rubbles of what we would have been.
But if you look at that period of history, it almost seems impossible that we didn't go down that path. All of those signs were there. Lest we forget, why must we go to Robben Island? Such a dark pit of hope and despair. When I've read some of the letters that Madiba wrote to his children, 7, 8 years into that process, and how rich the hope was still within him, despite there being no hope. There couldn't have been hope. How are we going to foster that same sense of self-belief in young South Africans now? Why do we need to stay connected to this time and this place?
I think Robben Island offers more than it offers Mandela. If you look at the story of Robben Island, it comes from the early travelers who were coming from Europe around the Cape to the Dutch, to the other areas like the Eastern Islands. And also, you look at the incarceration, the involvement of slavery, you look at how people were suppressed, how people were moved from their own areas and then were forced to labor and became property on Robben Island. But also it became a huge hospital for about 85 years. So it speaks to different layers, you know, of history of Robben Island, but also to different layers of human involvement and human suffering that you may find anywhere in the world. So once you get to the area where Mandela was, you start seeing the hope.
Feel it, yeah.
It kind of glows in you and wells in you in such a way that by the time you leave, you feel like you want to be the next Nelson Mandela.
I feel it, buddy. Just looking into your eyes, I feel it, my friend. Thank you so much for carrying that spirit to the world, because I know the world comes here to South Africa, to Cape Town, to Robben Island, to tap into that. So thank you so much for representing that so bravely and boldly and proudly. Enjoy today. I know this is an everyday gig for you, but enjoy today, because it is an opportunity to scream from the rooftops what you need to do. So do it. And thank you so much. And thanks for the shirt.
You're welcome.
Absolutely
Thanks.
Spectacular this morning. There is an opportunity now like never before for young people to connect to Tata Madiba's legacy. If you have digital access, use that power. Find out more about Robben Island. Find out about the history that brought us to this point so it can inform what you're going to do about the future today. Vuyo, thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.